The future belongs to the curious. This is an act of discovery. Come and experience it with us in Arcad and discover your creative potential. This is your path. This is your journey. You decide how it's going to be. Time to free your curiosity that's always in you. Come and experience it with us in Arcad and discover your creative potential.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues and participants. Welcome to Arcad, Arkan University of Creative Arts and Design webinar series, Sharing Experiences, organized by Department of Industrial Design. I am Assistant Professor Dr. Handan Ergiydiren Doğan as the moderator of today's webinar, which is titled as Between Design and Craft, and we are welcoming designer Mr. Koray Özgen. It is a great honor to introduce internationally recognized and accomplished design personnel to share his unique experiences between design and craft with us. Koray Özgen obtained his bachelor's degree in industrial design from Middle East Technical University in Ankara. He started to work as a research assistant at the same department while carrying out his master's studies in graphic design at Bilkent University and completed his master thesis, Visual Intervention within the Architectural Environment, during his post-diploma internship at ANSI, École Nationale Supérieure de Création Industrielle in Paris. In 1995, he started his own studio in Paris, where he currently lives and works. Özgen Design Studio provides cross-disciplinary solutions in different fields. He has developed visual designs and wayfinding solutions to institutional clients, including Pompidou Center, City of Paris, Knoll International France, Lille 3000, Salt Garanti Kültür, Yapı Kredi Kültür Sanat. In a parallel, he has provided tailor-made space identity solutions for several hospitality companies. Koray Özgen developed products for different companies, including Design Ideas USA, Skultuna 1607 Sweden, Innermost England, Şişecam Paşa Bahçe, Doku Rugs, Hayra Geo, Turkey. At the same time, he designs his own range of products for ODC, Özgen Design Collection. He has received several awards for his design, and with his works, he took part in exhibitions in different museums and events such as Martyr Herford Museum, Istanbul Design Biennale, MoMA, New York, Helsinki World Design Capital, Pergamon Museum, and the Museum der Dinge in Berlin. Koray Özgen intervenes as guest lecturer, workshop leader, invited speaker, and jury member for different institutions. Very welcome, Mr. Özgen. We're very glad to host you today. First of all, I would like to ask you, how did you decide to study design? What was your motivations to choose this profession in the very beginning?
Hello, and it's also a pleasure for me to be in contact with Cyprus for this meeting.
Yes.
So your question, it starts like how I have chosen design to study design. I have chosen study design when I was studying engineering. After 2 years of study, I decided to quit my engineering studies and to start design studies. From that point, since my graduation, I am deeply involved in several projects and continue my practice in this field.
Career, Now the arena is yours, so we're listening to your presentations about all of your carriership.
Okay. Uh, so taking back the question of Handan, I will start with why I came to Paris. Actually, working in Paris was not a project, or studying in Paris was not a project, and living in Paris was not also a dream for me. I was not speaking even French. So my first contact was a summer school while I was studying design in Middle East Technical University. And after I graduated, I was a research assistant. And to complete my thesis, with that contact, I came to Paris to make research and complete my thesis in l'ENSI, l'École supérieure de création industrielle in Paris. And this gave me the chance to be in that program, internship program in Paris. And my thesis director was in the same school, Pippo Leone. He was an Italian American designer working in that school. And I was writing my thesis, participating these studios in that school, and afterwards I have also had the chance to work with him while I was writing my thesis. So at that time, his way of thinking and our discussions really shaped my philosophy, I can say. He has a background of mathematics, philosophy, and music, so his way of thinking was relatively different from the persons who have studied traditional design education. So from that point, I try to shape my design thinking in a way that, like looking after forms and reasoning the existence of objects, radically changed. So for several years after presenting my thesis, I have returned back to Paris and started as a visual designer and supplying solutions, signage and visual communication solutions. And in 1999, I have established my company, and that company has two entities. The first, it was a design studio, and in a parallel, I have established a design collection. Means that I was designing my own range of products to produce and distribute through different channels. And our target was firstly design museums and concept stores. So from that date, starting with a product at that time, this was our first product, an ashtray, which was designed to demonstrate the tolerance during these dates that the smoking was forbidden in closed spaces, but there are some parts that you were able to smoke. So it was an object that giving us the liberty or the tolerance to smoke or not to smoke. It was an object, a signage, and a message carrying medium. So with that object, the company had the facility to auto finance around 30, 35 products within 10 years. And during these 10 years, we were participating to exhibitions, fairs, and distributing the products. And our products is being sold in hundreds of different points in the world, in the museum stores and department stores and concept stores. So you see some of the products that have been developed and produced by us and commercialized, such as in Mama Store and some other retail points. And during that period also, this facility of auto manufacturing, auto producing products gave me the chance to deal with several different materials and producing these objects in several different countries and connecting different crafts, industry, and clients through these objects. And you
Koray,
see, yeah.
Excuse me. Would you please explain us more about what is auto produced objects?
Actually, yeah, this is maybe a French translation. Thank you for your remark. Means that I had a studio that I was providing like graphic design, exhibition design, and other design projects, and working with some clients. But as I told you, I had a second entity, which is a design collection, which that I was not designing for other manufacturers, that I was also designing also for other manufacturers, but this was my own collection. So it's my company who is developing, manufacturing, and commercializing these products. That's why I said auto.
Yeah,
So
it,
it
it is
was,
signed by you, by
yeah,
your firm, by
designed by
yourself.
me and developed and manufactured, like produced, not manufactured. We had some subcontractors who were manufacturing these products, like the product that you see, the porcelain breakfast set, for example. This was manufactured in Germany by a porcelain factory. So we were ordering products to be manufactured, and then afterwards, through different marketing channels, we were commercializing these products in some department store, museum stores, and concept stores.
So, as I understand, your name became a brand of a design product.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have that pretension that I will establish a brand, but I was considering this action, like this parallel activity, as a laboratory for me to have a contact with clients, contact with manufacturers, and to have the liberty that I can design and develop the products that I wish to propose to a public, to a specific public.
Before you go on with your, PowerPoint, would you also please tell us about your philosophy? Because you just have underlined when you, after you're completing your thesis, then you said that it has been appeared more that your philosophy of designing something. Can you give us a brief of your philosophy?
Of course, like instead of proposing something, just how can I explain that you dreamed. My philosophy was to reason why this product should exist, and why should I propose such kind of product. So through this point, I should have an attitude. So this attitude can be should have a philosophy behind, so that you can justify why you are proposing these products. And you will see in some concrete examples, and each example also defines a concept why I designed this product, and which which kind of starting point let me to produce these objects. So each time you should have a reason, rather than produce hell a lot of products to market them. So, and another reason is when I was reasoning, I was always thinking about once you are a designer and you start to design, and then you leave a archive behind you. So my first philosophy was, if I should leave an object archive behind me, I should be always how do you call, stand behind these products. I should not make disappear these products in my history of personal history. Means that, for example, I make archives of some brands and manufacturers, and try to keep these archives as a part of my research. So I will explain these things in coming slides, so that it will be much more maybe concrete to see what's my philosophy behind when I was asked to design an object, or I decided to develop an object for my own collection.
Okay.
So I
Shall we
will
go
just
on then?
yeah, because I will not enter all these details, all these 40 products that I have developed. I will just pass, and I have some significant maybe examples which will be much more explicit, especially for students who are listening to us, to be more clear in their minds. So
Okay.
we have developed several products, like a solar tote, or a simple letter holder, or a flower bud vase, and the furniture. Uh, and also in parallel, like I was designing my own range of products, but I was also designing for other brands like Pasha Bahçe, or some other companies. Like this is the a lamp for a Hong Kong and UK company, and also designing visual communication products for some brands.
To see them.
And this is another an accessory to put on the candles, like angel wings, which is a culturally the candles are quite in the everyday life of the Scandinavian people. So this was another product that I have licensed for a Swedish company, which is.
We don't see the slides. You must move on, I think.
Do you see?
Yes, but only the first one. If you, I mean, you need to continue. Operate. Yes, like that. Yeah, can you please begin
Do
again?
you see
Because we
them?
haven't seen the previous ones. Yeah, now we are seeing that. But can you please begin from the beginning?
Is it?
From the first one. From the first product again.
This was the first one.
All right.
Did you,
Screen'den çıkmasını söyleyin.
did
Uh,
you see this product?
yes, we can, but can you please be in full screen?
Not in full screen.
Not in the full screen, sorry.
Yeah. Now, is it okay?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So I will continue like this.
Okay. Yes.
Do you see them? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we can.
So you have stopped in this image since long time.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes. So this is
that's
the ashtray that
uh,
you
sorry.
mentioned
It
before.
was a
Okay.
completely abstract
Yeah,
presentation.
more
As
philosophical.
nobody
So
remarked that I was only on the
yeah,
same image. So yeah,
yeah,
we
but
will.
we had chance to focus on your idea more. Then it's fine. So
Okay, so we will
let's
recover fast all
yeah,
this missing
of course we
visual
will.
visuals.
Right.
So,
Okay.
like these are the examples of the products that I have developed during these years, as I have touched literally
The
several
first one is
materials.
the tea glass holder. I think, isn't it? Is a
It's a
tea tray.
tray. It's a tray. We
Yeah.
will come. We will come all these products. So I will just.
Okay.
I will just move quickly to recover the time lost without any images. So,
Okay.
like my company developed between 30 and 40 different products, and in between I was also designing some other products to other manufacturers or brands like Paşabahçe, or brands in Sweden, United States, and England and Hong Kong. So these products has been commercialized in different stores. Do you see now?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, we
okay,
can. We are.
okay. So like this product was awarded in 2006 in National French Design Awards. Was a breakfast set which was in porcelain, and I have told you when you have asked me, this was like designed by me, and a company in Germany has manufactured, produced this product for us, for my I mean, in a way, brand. But you have asked the question. I didn't have the pretension to have a brand, but in a parallel I was trying to develop uh, products, but in a logic of a lab, so I can decide
Yeah.
in which through which products I can work, and the process, and the country, depending on the know-how. Why, like I have chosen a German company because that company was located in a region in Germany where all the good quality of white porcelain was manufactured. So to move quickly, uh, you see some products like this stainless steel bud vase and this furniture that we will come to these products. And as I told you, in parallel, I was designing products for some other brands. This is the like tumblers that I have designed for Paşa Bahçe, and the lamps for a company in UK, and some visual designs for Knoll in France, and the exhibition designs and accessories for a that I have licensed for an American company and developed accessories for a Swedish company, some Christmas accessories and exhibition identities for Centre Pompidou. And wayfinding and signage design was one of my special, like specialty that my thesis was on this subject. So I had chance to also develop the wayfinding and signage solutions to some institutional clients also in Turkey for Garanti Salt and Yapı Kredi Kültür Sanat, and some other exhibition designs in Paris for some fashion brands, and uh, some art exhibitions, and in parallel some hospitality projects in Istanbul. I had the chance since 2015 also working with some companies in hospitality sector in Istanbul, also in Paris, uh, restaurants, bars, and so like if we come back to the philosophy, uh, I would like to share this quote that when I go back to my first years in France, I had also had the chance to participate some workshops and seminars, and in that time, I have I have met and participated one of his workshops, one of the like the semantics at that time guru Klaus Kripendo, and his quote really had a very powerful impact on me. Like actually, design in a way is making sense of things, and starting from this point, like each time I am asked to design something, my first starting point is how can I make sense through my object, through my design. And in parallel, I will just give an example. You have asked about this tray, this Turkish tea tray, askı. And
Yes.
so if you will redesign a tray, I think it should make sense in a way that you should improve its uh, its utility through your reinterpretations. So that's why instead of just restyling, I was reasoning how I can improve this utility, and not based on only a visual styling, and try to find a solution how I can make it more practical. And like here you see the traditional, maybe this students who are following us, they can have an idea of Turkish tea tray that they can see in Istanbul or in Turkey or even in Cyprus, that in some areas the tea sellers carry this tray. So my idea was to making it more practical with a detachable handles, and making flat, and making an object which satisfying the same function but not necessarily in the same visual formula. And at the end, my interpretation was quite a, in that time, quite a successful, I think, product. It has been commercialized and covered quite a, in a wide range of Western media. But at that time, I have discovered how people perceive your products. As a designer, like me, as a Turkish origin designer, I have my memories and childhood, all these things. I have a conceptual image of a tea tray, and I have designed something with that starting point. But each country, like each media, especially, they were how do you call, commenting on your product in a different way. Like the French newspaper was putting like my origins ahead while explaining the product. But the New York Times was commenting on products in a very pragmatic way. And the Turkish media was taking that thing as a self praise. So everybody was perceiving your products in different way. So from that point, we should keep in always mind that you imagine something, but I'm sure that it has been perceived differently through different cultures. So we should always keep in mind this very critical point while we are designing something. Although it's a cultural product, when it becomes
Do
a,
you listen?
sorry,
Yeah.
Handan, did you ask something? I couldn't.
Ben konuşabilir miyim? Evet, yes, I was just adding this idea that you are inspired by the existing maybe traditional products, but you are not. I mean, you're not such a kind of, struggle with that to make them, new or to make them contemporary. Rather than, I think you are carrying the soul and the memories that you have collected in your, mind, and it comes by itself naturally. I mean, rather than to for
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean,
for
this is
for
like
purpose.
when you design something, the parameters are several to take into consideration. Like all your trainings and your origin, to who you are designing and why you are designing, making this product special. So each solution
Yes.
is unique. You start with an idea in your mind, but at the end, when you arrive to a concrete product, then it's not yours. It belongs to a public if it's commercialized. So everybody has his own idea, his own perception how to use it, and they comment, they criticize. That's the point that which makes us uh, progress, and all these feedbacks that you make a progress in your design life. And I will come to another example, uh, which is related to crafts. And so when you think design and crafts, when we were studying, like at the maybe the end of 80s or beginning of 90s, crafts was for me or for my like friends or colleagues, crafts at that time, it was a little bit a pejorative meaning. Like a designer is always placed higher than a craft. But now, when with my all experiences, like if you collaborate with the crafts, I don't say craftsman because it can be a craftswoman, so it's better to name it craftsperson. If you have a relation during your like productions or uh, your projects with a craftsperson, for me it's a very valuable relation which makes your reasonings and design thinking much more richer. So some like examples or in a quote, like exercises demonstrate how a relation or a co-creation with a craft can we end up with some really interesting concrete products. So this was one of the products, like an object that I have asked in 2012 during the Design Biennale Istanbul, and a company, a rug company, was participating, and we had a team notations to propose rugs to that company. And starting that point, the notations given by the curator of this event, I have decided to to collaborate with the weaver in a way, like collaborate. Uh, so the notations you can take as also the musical notations. It's a very generic concept. So what I was wishing was, in a way, a sustainable approach, but also a sharing some values with the viewer. So what I have asked the company that they use the surplus material of the wool, which were the surplus from the other productions, that the weaver can take these and make some lines, and the final form was the that rug. and it was awarded also
Uh,
by L Decoration Awards. So this was, in a way, as it's written on the slide. If you so you can follow, it's the same slide that we are on the same page. Yeah, you see a rug. Designer
yes,
starts and weavers
yes,
complete.
yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah. So this
yes.
was the idea behind. Like I was starting the idea, but the weaver completes the product, which her or his own intuition or way of choosing the colors. I didn't really choose the colors or the dimensions of the lines. It was all done by like finalized by the weaver. So as
I
a
see.
designer,
May I ask a question?
yeah,
Uh, um, I think the name of the product is very interesting, Tuluat.
yes.
Tuluat is
Sorry,
coming
I
from,
just also,
the art of
yeah,
drama, as I know.
yeah, it's a, yeah, I mean,
So it's about conversation.
yeah, it's a way of conversation
So
between
what?
the
I mean, what is the meaning of Tuluat and relationship?
Tuluat is like in a way, I mean, Tuluat is you cannot really fix some one-to-one translations, but it's a like a improvisation, like in a design sense, like we are like
So
I
you
am,
and I mean yeah, you as designer and the viewer is kind of in a kind of a Tuluat.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's the,
you're
yeah. So
giving and taking
we
the
yeah, we didn't have a given text in between us. I ask something and he replies with a thing. So in a kind of we are in
yeah.
an interaction. So
Yeah, and it is improvised in a way. Improvisation also included.
yeah, I mean, maybe the viewer doesn't take this as an improvisation, but it's a like an intuitional action.
It,
Like she or he takes a, a, a ball of a wool, sorry, and then just make his her lines and end up with this rug.
I see. It's
And
very
two
unique and
years,
very interesting story.
yeah, thank you. And 2 years later, and the same company, the Biennale of 2014, and the same curator was also a someone from Middle East, Ali Zindoruk, and maybe his next how do you call the theme was instructions. So that time I have given an instruction. We didn't give any visual. I didn't give neither the. I mean, I have given a visual clue for the other one, Tuluat, but this time I just send the text to the viewer. Uh, it was green in the middle. The translation, I mean, it was not a perfect translation, but it was I miss green. Let's weave a kilim with Dokuz. Dokuz is the brand, green wool, so that the center gushes of green. Let's be so fond of it that every time we see it, we wish to be near it, we wish to touch it, and we wish to inhabit. So the two interpreters, Gülfan Atabey and Aslı Zontur, these are the weavers in the Aegean coast of Turkey. So they have interpreted uh, rug. I didn't uh, give any drawings, and here you also just see some clues that uh, their way of visualizing a claim in their mind is strongly connected to a carpet. So if you can make in the visual a comparison, they have taken the what we say göbek in halı, the center. They have taken the center and they have worked in this center to be like this is their interpretation and their intervention in the product. So it's a co-creation,
Yeah,
just
it is.
a text, and after a completely I mean, I would not 100% not arrived in this solution, but the way that they depicted all these details, a house and the flower and all these waves of greens and the center of a traditional carpet makes it, I think, very very rich in result as a rug.
I think the most interesting part is how did you participate or how did you lead as designer, rather than to give them some sketches or patterns or ready-made design to copy or to weave on that. You gave them a text that, in
Yeah,
fact, text, a written text. As
yeah,
concept, text is always coming from texture, so coming from weave something. So I'm really amazed with that as designer, I mean, we can give a touch, or we can give some trigger, not only by drawings or the mock-ups or the models, but with the ideas, or with some words as well,
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're designing a text here, a written text, in fact, as designer, as I understand
yeah,
from
yeah.
this
These are
product.
the like as a designer, you see the fruit of such a co-creation or collaboration, as I have also lived in the first example was
Yes.
also a very instructive also for me. So I pass to another example. This is not a very craft. I mean, not in the same continuation of the example, but this was also another example that I had been commissioned during the Istanbul 2010 European Capital of Culture for an exhibition event, Istanbul Otherwise. So they have been, I have, we have been asked like 7 or 8 designers through specific teams to design something for Istanbul or connect to the like local culture. So mine was a shoe shiner box. So as you, I come back quickly the concepts of these objects. Like this is named as retranslation for me, and the other was a recontextualization. So here we come to a renunciation, means like not accepting something or uh, a formal rejection of something. So when I have been given the shoe shiner box, my first reaction was, why shoe shiner box? The name of the object. So actually, this is connected directly to the working children in Turkey or in Istanbul or in other countries. So, so my here also my attitude to reject to design an object directly connected to the name of the object, but try to make an approach through an object, but to make an homage, I don't know, like this French and English expression pronunciation is sometimes mixed up. So it's a homage to shoeshiner children, which are in Istanbul, like you see every day when you are in Istanbul. So my approach was to come with an object which should make an homage, which is not a shoe shiner box, that you can distribute in Istanbul in the district as a monument. The monuments that connect to these working children. Maybe one day there will be no working children, and in the public spaces, people can put their foot on these monuments and clean their shoes themselves.
It's very
So,
human.
so as I have,
Very, very, very delicate approach, I think.
yeah, so this is like every object I should personally had an attitude of like a renunciation or uh, retranslation. So each object also should be defined. You cannot, as a designer, at the end, when you leave some object behind you, you should stand behind your object with a concept why you have designed this. If you someone asks you, so if you move quickly from this thing, and this is another object. It was for my own collection. It was a reappropriated object. That a doorstop is a heavy object, and my idea was to how I can obtain a heavy object. Where does it exist? Heavy objects and all these things. Let me to while I saw a, a urban element in Milan. I have just reappropriated its form and converted to an object which can be used as doorstop. And the first also in that process, I had some different way of collaborating with some crafts persons. The original doorstop was in concrete, and then was a successful object. And I said, maybe I can make it also in different materials. And suddenly, like I have born in Ankara, and when I was child, like the Ankara stone, this volcanic stone was a very well-known stone. All the urban elements, like the pedestrian ways, were all done by this stone. So I decided to use this stone, and it was a more emotional, maybe, relation with a craftsman in Ankara that he was producing my doorstops in Ankara stone. But also, it was not only the producing and selling. When the years passed, we have sold several of them. We were importing with containers to France. But one day, when people started to reason about this energy and the environmental impacts, I have decided not to produce locally as an emotional decision, because like carrying all these stones from Ankara and selling them in Europe, even importing them in United States, it was not logic to use such kind of hell a lot of energy. At the end, you just supply a doorstop in stone. So I have decided to produce them locally in France from Burgundy stone, and at that time I realized that a craftsman, it's not a machine. So and the local material has its own characteristics, like its own texture, density, humidity. So uh, I understood that the craftsman has their own way of appreciating material and working on materials quite different. So a French craftsman and a Turkish craftsman, they have their own way of working and own way of finishing the stone that they are familiar with. And it was also a rich experience for me uh, to share with you. And like we have already in 1 hour 60 minutes, so I have to move quickly, maybe Handan. So this was another example which was substantiated my like the concept why it was substantiated. It was in the it means that it was like you provide an evidence why you make some modular plates. Like in the beginning of 2000, there were lots of modular plates were being how do you call introducing in the market in Europe. So I have decided also make a set of plates which could be modular and used interchangeable in and so while I was thinking, I have just why should I draw and try to find some new forms? Instead, I have already a very established and how do you call like proved uh, principle, which was a Pythagoras theorem. If I take this theorem, then I have a very strong potential to arrive to a modular plate. So in this Pythagoras theorem, in a right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. And taking this and applying to surfaces, I have ended up with 5 plates. But the plates were like some of the plates were equal in their surfaces, like these two and these two. So this Pythagoras theorem gave me the potential to propose modular plates that, as a designer, I have only get them together in a logic. So it was another approach, which is like the designer is in a somehow in a point that he's just connecting some principles and the existence of objects together, and at the end I didn't decide the final form, but it's the, the Pythagoras theorem and the functionality of the plates decided in their own final form. So another project which is also concept as authenticate. I cannot even pronounce it. So
Authenticated,
it's
authenticated, I don't know.
authenticated.
Authenticate.
Authenticated. There's a error.
After all this, long pronunciation, then we stuck on this pronunciation. But it's simply to prove or show something that it's like a jewelry, and uh, the way of giving the value to a jewelry is mostly through its material. Either it's a precious stone or a material like gold or silver. So my ironic approach here was most of the people buy jewelry uh, relatively like deciding depending on the value of the materials. So the craftsmanship behind is sometimes ignored. So I was just putting this forward, like if you at that moment you have a gold jewelry, you just buy the gold as a element from the periodic table, and in future maybe you will buy some other materials as jewelry. At that time, it's gold and silver. So, so I just move forward and we'll share this quote from Edward Hall. Like my quotes are always coming from 69, 66. Like very intemporal maybe quotes for me or my like generation. So it's
Yes.
like man learns while he sees, and what he learns influences what he sees. So, and here I will just give an example from my collaboration with Şişecam Paşabahçe with mouth blown glassware. It looks like a very industrial product, but it's all the products are mouth blown by like craftsmen in the factories. So this is the two carafes that my maybe life experience, led me to develop these two carafes for Paşabahçe. So uh, I have taken two carafes, young and vintage, like one for the young wine, and the other is the vintage, like more that we have to air, and like the young wine we have to air more, and the other one is more like we have to keep the flavor differently. So I have taken directly these two bottles, which are the traditional bottle in France. So actually, my uh, attempt is here to arrive to a carafe is also a like defining the curves of the bottle as a mathematical approach. Nowadays, people uh, talk about this parametric design, but like at that time, I didn't aware of any parametric, but it was my own uh, design approach and thinking, and change the curves of the bottle to arrive to a young wine. Like these bottles traditionally, they they are for young wines, like this Bourgogne bottle, and arrived in that final form with a wide base to air your wine, and in a parallel the border bottle was also developed, like with this changing the curves and arriving to another carafe. So finally, it's not a looking for a form, on my sketchbook, but it's defined before how to arrive to a carafe. And this was also like appreciated by like French media, and it was also selected in between some other French products in like French exhibition in Finland. And this is also another like playing with the curves of glasses or a carafe to arrive to a rakı carafe, and defining the half bottle and the double shot through the curves of the carafe and the bottles and tumblers, and some other examples that I will pass quickly that I have developed for Paşa Bahçe. And it's a bug on my text in Cebelli. And another, like this is another example that I will share. Maybe it's already 20 past 5, I think, Handan.
Yes.
Should we stop or can we continue?
It's up to you. It's very pleasurable listening, and all of them are very interesting. It's a pity that you passed this eyes, glasses, and the other
Yeah,
glasswares.
yeah,
Yeah,
just coming
because
back.
in our university, I mean, we've got a very well developed glass atelier, and also we are very related in design, for glass as well.
Yeah,
So they're all
yeah,
interesting.
okay.
But yes, we are a little bit, yeah, maybe time
I
shrinking,
mean,
but
like we are continuing on glass product, so I will come to another glass product. So this was
all
a,
right.
olive and vinegar set with the same logic of developing the wine and the rakı carafe, as you see, and this is another glass product as a tea light holder for beaches and gardens, and a set of three bowls, like shifting and changing the diameters, we can end up with some different functionalities. And the tumblers, which are called booze, that developed also changing and deforming the regular shape of a octagonal base into a irregular tumbler, which like give reference to an
Ice cream.
ice, melted ice.
All right.
So the Incebelli was another adventure and a long story about the tea glass, Turkish tea glass. Actually, my brother was a collectioner, but he was much more interested in some postcards and coins and stamps and some financial ephemera, as he was a financial background. And one day, while we were discussing, I have told him that maybe it could be interesting for you to also collect tea glasses, because it's a huge potential of these objects in Turkey. Each time I come to Turkey, like it's a crazy variety of glasses. So he said, "Yeah, not a bad idea," and he has started to collect. He has a good network to reach some rare examples, but also very common mainstream examples. So in a very short time, he has collected more than 600, 700 tea glasses. And each time I was coming to Istanbul, we were discussing, and I said, let's share it. Now it's time to share it with some other people, so that, maybe we will learn something from these things. And I have also some articles that I have read and learned about some other side of the background or history of İncebelli. But uh, in Turkey, these tea glasses are in our daily life. Like, there were some flashbacks that we have go back to our parents' houses, and we have found our tea glasses that we were drinking tea in during our childhood. So all these tea glasses were like very interesting to share with the other people. So I have uh, I have been in contact already with a museum in Berlin, the museum called Museum of Things, Museum der Dinge. So I have explained this, and they were really interested. So they have invited me to make an installation with all these tea glasses, but it should be in a way a subjective installation. So I have uh, I have selected some tea glasses that you see, but it was not only these tea glasses, but with some 600 tea glasses. I have made an installation, and they have supplied me a space. So it was this İncebelli installation, and it was not only a, like a historical, like a design exhibition or a historical exhibition of tea glasses, but every tea glasses was connected to a, a, a life, a person, like my grandmother, my mother, our childhood. And also, these tea glasses was not only tea glasses before, but in some regions in Anatolia, before it was used as a tea glass, this form, people probably drinking also other drinks like rakı or wine, as you see in this example. So you have some grapes reliefs, and also some grapes on tea glasses. So all these observations led me to make an installation about a very wide range of, uh, in a way, demonstrating how this form, this İncebelli slim-waisted glass, took place in the lives of different people in Turkey. And then it was another point that, like, this slim-waisted glass was uh, used by mother of my mother-in-law, who was a German lady. So, and I realized that this form was also used in Northern Europe to drink schnapps or liquor, and some, other drinks than tea. So all these observations led me to make this installation. And I don't go into details, but in 2015, Paşabahçe was celebrating their 18th year of the establishment of the company, and there was an event called Omnia, and there were some teams, given to some invited designers to design some products. And the tea glass was very interesting for me. And there comes my adventure with this ince belli, this slim waisted glass design. So if we think that the Pasha Bahçe was producing for 80 years the slim waisted glasses ince belli, they have been produced they have produced like hundreds of different glasses, as you see on this visual. So when I saw this uh, and with my own personal experience with these tea glasses, my first reaction and my attitude was, I cannot design a tea glass for that company because they have already designed all the possibilities. So there is nothing to do. And from that, my attitude was just like the prior examples. I should not find a form or a design a tea glass and try to sketch and find a fancy tea glass. So I decided to uh, find the average tea glass of Pasha Bahçe. So I have asked around 100 different examples and discussed with a mathematician. And then we have taken the curves of the chosen Pasha Bahçe glasses and take the average, mathematical average of these different kind of tea glasses. And the form was actually, we have the form as a conceptual image of a tea glass. But if we go back to these tea glasses, so tea glass doesn't exist only as a tea glass, but you can drink vodka, whiskey, wine, or other things. So what I have done, just to uh, propose these curves in different heights and diameters to end up with a shot glass, like a homage maybe to my mother-in-law, and a wine or a whiskey glass for some other cultures which have been using this universal form as a normal ergonomic solution of a tea glass. And another craft adventures so that we will finish. So the olives, maybe it exists also in Cyprus. You cultivate olives in Cyprus. So one day, uh, a friend and his friend's father, they had a olive fields and a museum, and they asked me if I was interested to design products from olive wood because they have a good stock of olive wood cut. And so I have invited to visit their like fields, and you see some trunks. And what I have observed and I have seen, like the olive wood was not really treated. The olive wood, the maintenance or like treating olive wood is not a very well known maybe culture. So most of the trunks were rotten. So inside it's dead. If you want to make an object, you cannot use it properly because the wood is not proper and it's rotten and it's not a good quality. But while I was just walking around, I have seen some branches, and I have asked, "What are you? What's your, uh, what are these for?" They said that the local people are burning them for heating in winter time. So I said, "Yeah, so instead of burning, maybe we can come up with some products and we can just reuse them and revalue them instead of burning them." So I have just, I was really impressed and very excited and just started to deal with all these branches. And we have just make some, I have done some tests that maybe we can use these branches with some small interventions that I didn't again design or sketch a product, to get some tools like salad servers, for example. So we have done the first prototypes, and at the end we have arrived to use these branches, uh, like converted, transformed by a crafts person in the region, locally in place, on the place. And the result was quite impressive too. And I was asked, I asked them to just turn the extremity to have a smooth handle, and also propose some spatulas and brushes, cooking brushes, and also using these branches as an accessory for a appetizer bowl. And I have also some other solutions, but these are the things that I show you in here. So uh, this was another really fruitful collaboration with a craftsperson, that normally the branches which are like their destination was to be burned, they return back to life as products. And it was also another like another adventure with craftsperson, and another material is an olive wood, which is a very, very interesting materials to work with. Yeah, I mean, I stop here.
Thank you very, very much, Koray. It was a huge pleasure to listen to you and to have some maybe limited, but it was very huge information that we have from you today. Thank you very, very much. I think it was amazing design adventure for us because the relationship in between craft and design is that you mentioned before was very much neglected by the industrial maybe designers, but those things are, I mean, those universe can get together, can collaborate together, and you showed us and you approved that approach to us very richly. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, it was also a pleasure for me to share with all these experiences with you, consequently with the students in your school. So good luck
Yeah,
for
but there is
everybody.
a question.
Ah,
Sorry, yeah, before you
I was
go.
just.
Yeah, but this is a very nice question as well. One of our students, Anna Plieva, asks that if can students from our university apply for internship in your company?
Yeah, I mean, they can. I think you have my contacts, Handan.
Yes, I have. If it is free to share, then
Yeah, you can share with them,
all right.
depending on their needs or their our availability. Yeah, they are always welcome to, yeah, share my experiences and work as an intern. And maybe in future, like I'm also trying to establish another step in my production processes, maybe much more craft oriented workshop is on the way. So why not to welcome students also from your school, from Cyprus, this beautiful island.
Yes, we wish you to come here, by yourself and be
Yeah,
our guest someday, hopefully, maybe for exhibition or some other
yeah,
expanding sharing. Thank you very
yeah.
very much.
It'll
It
be a
was
pleasure. It's also
very,
lot of olive woods, I think, in Cyprus,
yes,
and
yes, there are, and also there are another amazing trees and the flowers as well. The
yeah,
nature
I
is
know.
very beautiful and different here. And thank you very much for this joyful event, Koray, again and again. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Handan. Bye. Have a good
Bye.
afternoon. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
The future belongs to the curious. This is an act of discovery. Come and experience it with us in Arrowhead and discover your creative potential. This is your path. This is your journey. You decide how it's going to be. Time to free your curiosity that's always in you. Come and experience it with us in Arrowhead and discover your creative potential.